Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I am joined by the one, the only SJ Basketball. Where can they find you again?
At SJBasketball8.
At SJBasketball8, a must follow on Twitter. At some point, we will speak under happier circumstances because the last time we
We
talked,
always talk after L's.
but hey, they won 2 games in a row afterwards after the Jazz series.
Yes.
So maybe this is just putting some good energy back into the air. I guess let's start with this. We're recording this on Wednesday or Tuesday, and it's going to be out on Wednesday. So game one happened last night as of the time we're talking, just to avoid any confusion. But the Mavs lost, obviously, game one. Did your confidence in the Mavs' ability to win a series, did it change at all?
No, because hate to say it, but I didn't pick them to win the series. I mean, I want them to win the series. I'd hope that they win the series, but just realistically, looking at the game objectively, I don't think they could win. So, them losing, it didn't do anything for my confidence because I didn't think they'd win. But I'm sure we're gonna get into it. But were things that you probably kind of liked from them, just things that you didn't like. But I think they can make. I mean, the game got competitive towards the end. Depends on who you ask. People could say, "Oh, Phoenix kind of got they let go of the rope or whatever." But I trust us to still make this a long and competitive series.
Yeah, see, I picked the Mavs in 5. That was just me. That was just me speaking with my heart. And I feel the same after the Jazz game one, where I'm like, I still feel the same way I felt going into the series. Probably not Mavs in 5, obviously. But I still feel like they have a really solid chance. They have to play perfectly, but game one doesn't really change much for me. And I want to say the garbage time stuff, I don't believe in that in the playoffs. I don't think
I don't either. That's why I was kind of like, depending on who you talk to, I don't, because I won't say Phoenix was just out there not trying. I think that's a bit disingenuous to say.
Yeah.
Were they trying their hardest? Probably not, given the fact that they were up so much, just realistically. But to say that they weren't trying, I think that is definitely disingenuous.
I think more maybe like the Mavs went to small, the Suns were up by 18 or whatever it was, and then they were like, let's not have our big counter to this right now. Maybe more than anything else. But I don't like the garbage time because it was an 8-point game at one point. If the Mavs make a 3 or something, it's a 5-point game. I think there was like 2 minutes left or something at that point.
I was kind of in and out at the end, but I think because the lead. That's the thing with the lead. We kept getting it down, and then they would hit shots to build it back up. So it was really the game wasn't close, but it was actually close. That's kind of how it felt, at least to me.
I mean, that's what this team does, though. They've done that all year long. Do you think so? The small ball was the big time adjustment, and then Kid and everyone was pretty much talking about that almost exclusively after the game. Is Dwight Powell done for the series outside of maybe some spot minutes?
Oh, you'd hope, just not even with the small ball, but just because this is not really a great series for him. Like even with the Utah series, like Luka made him serviceable, but Dwight Powell is not really like a playoff type player just because he's not diverse enough offensively. So when teams key in and like take away his role, he's unless they're doubling Luka and he can provide relief in the short roll, there's not really much for him to do out there besides like set screens and switch a bit. So I think it depends on what Kid does. If I see Kleber in the starting lineup, then I would say Powell's probably done with heavy minutes, but if he's still starting, then I think his minutes will reduce, but I don't think because the small ball, I feel like it might be this might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel like it's kind of similar to how the Jazz, how they thought they found something.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, honestly.
5 and I think it's similar to that because, like, when you look at Ayton, like, you would say, Finney Smith was defending him pretty well, but I don't anticipate or expect Ayton to be missing those kind of looks like the whole series with Dorian on him. I just don't think it's sustainable. You'll see more, but I don't think that's the that's it kind of thing to beat Phoenix. At the end of the day. I just don't think it's strong enough.
I mean, there are some bigs who, for whatever reason, like small ball, just completely throws them off. I don't know if Ayton's that guy, but
No, because Ayton's different. Ayton is already a finesse big.
yeah.
So like when smaller, the problem is with smaller guy, like post moves are kind of dead. There's especially from like big men aren't really working on their post moves, these days. So Gobert had no post. He has no post game. So like he can only catch lobs and get the ball like with extremely deep seals. Like he has to get like pretty good positioning for you to feel okay when he gets the ball. But with Ayton, he could pretty much catch it from almost anywhere in that kind of mid-range paint area.
Yeah.
And he has the touch and the skill to put, like kids said, put the ball in the basket.
He's got some of the best touch in the NBA.
Oh, it's so sweet. Such a sweet touch for a big. And yeah, you saw in the first half, like he was just splashing. Like people were like, and I saw a tweet, it was like the difference or some difference between the Suns and Utah is that the Suns look for Ayton, to dominate against the smaller Mavs versus Utah, they didn't look for Gobert. I was like, Gobert did not deserve to be looked for more. He did not. Like Ayton was scoring from the mid range. He was splashing middies. Gobert's not doing that. Gobert can't dream of doing that. So it's
he's not doing that. Like there are times there was this thing. I don't know how I feel about stats like this, but one of my friends sent me shot quality. I don't know if you saw this. It was like
I saw it. I don't know if I trust the metric, but fine.
Yeah, the Mavs like should have won the game technically by shot quality. But the thing is, the Suns, I saw some other absurd stat, have shot over 50% every game this postseason.
7 straight games.
And they're like over 60% on contested twos or something, contested mid-range jumpers.
But that's the thing with the Suns, which is why I don't really like the matchup. And I had disagreed with what people have been saying post-game with, the Suns can't possibly like play better. I don't really agree with that because we've seen they've shot 50% 7 straight games, and you think they're due for a stinker. There's gonna be a stinker in there somewhere.
The Chris Paul stinker's coming for sure.
Yeah, there's gonna be a stinker in there somewhere. That's just how percentages work. But just on average, they led the league in field goal percentage. Yeah. They like even throughout the series, like that's why I didn't really particularly like the matchup for us because we tried to force teams into tough mid-range shots. That's kind of like how our defense worked. They like those shots. They don't, they can score from anywhere on the floor. They like the, Booker, their 2 best players are mid-range, masters. So I saw in the first play, we did not really know how to defend it. We were confused. Like I saw Bullock, the first 2 fouls Finney-Smith made a mistake, led to an open Chris Paul jumper. And then next play, Bullock like jumped over Booker. Like it was weird. Their 2 best defenders, first 2 plays, they were confused. Like you saw, they were shook. They're kind of flummoxed. So I was kind of like, ooh, like, like Phoenix has a diverse enough offense to where I just don't know if we have enough to match it and kind of hold them back. So that's when people are like, they just can't play better. I think they can. Please don't say that because I think they can play better.
I mean, they were the best. They were the best in the world this season. Like you said, Chris Paul, Devin Booker. That's who they are as players. And then 8 and 2. But you do like some of those shots, like that one where the Mavs were going on that run, and then Chris Paul hit that wild ass.
Chris Paul was throwing a bullshit. He was throwing a bullshit.
He's gonna have a stinker for sure. Like that's gonna come. But the thing with Chris Paul stinkers is you'll get like 4 points, and then it'll be like 17 assists, no turnovers. And he was like carving up. Like that's what concerns me is he will find whoever it is on the Suns who has an advantageous matchup, regardless of who it is. Because there was times where we were leaving Cam Johnson wide open to help on other guys. You can't do that too often. Jay Crowder, you just knew Jay Crowder was going to go off yesterday.
Yeah, that's the thing with our defense. Like our defense is great, but we need or for a defense to be at its best, there has to be a weak spot in the other team's offense that we can exploit. Whether that's so when they play like a guy like Torrey Craig, that we can probably help off of him, and he's hit or miss from 3, but you could probably help off and feel okay. Jay Crowder, you can try it with him, but he hates us, and he just came off a series where he was shooting like 10%. Like percentages are gonna balance out.
He made more threes last night than he did all last series.
Exactly. And you could say, oh wow, but like law of averages, like okay, you could have expected that, so you can't really leave him open. And then there's not really anyone else that you're gonna leave or not pay attention to. So that's the problem. They just have too many offensive weapons, and our defense, we just don't have enough for the defense, for our defense to kind of counter an offense with just so many offensive weapons. On Utah, we just had to really worry about at least from on ball like creation. Conley was not a worry. He was dusted up. Like he was an old, it was really Donovan Mitchell and Clarkson.
Yeah.
And you even saw we couldn't do anything with Clarkson, but it was just Clarkson. Now we have pretty much eight guys, like 8 guys on Phoenix that you have to like worry about. Right. So we're playing 7 guys. You have 8 guys you got to worry about, and we can only play like 7. So like I just don't think the matchup is there. But stranger things have happened. Anything can happen.
That's why I'm worried about the Dwight Powell minutes, like, because we're already going so like our rotations are basically 7, because you'll get some spot minutes from like Bertans or Josh Green, but then it's just Dinwiddie and Kleba off the bench.
Yeah, he has to play a little bit. That's the thing. Like you can't, like our rotation, like you said, it's already so like short. We really can't be cutting like a whole other player.
Yeah,
because Josh Green is looking barely playable himself. Bertans can't play too much because he's just so bad defensively.
Yeah.
Like I said, even Dinwiddie's minutes are like he still has to play, but that's pushing it because he's not giving us much. Maxi's always going to play, but you're running the risk of foul trouble because he's going to contest everything out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we don't have. That's why Tim. Like, that's why I didn't get why people were like, oh, why are people begging for Tim back? Like, yes, he was having a disappointing season, but that's a bucket off the bench. We're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You need all the offensive help you can get, especially against Phoenix. Tim Hardaway Jr., 100%. Like, I don't think there's a debate on this really. Would help the Mavericks like today if he were available to play.
Oh, like, yeah. A healthy Tim's getting a ton of minutes.
He's getting a lot of minutes. He's going to eat a lot of minutes. And even if he's like a hit or miss, like efficiency wise, inconsistent, Tim is good for a 20-point game. I could, like even if it's 1, I know for a fact Tim is good for that like 1 heater. You need that in the playoffs.
That Clippers series last year, I know how the narratives ended up because in all of our losses, it was Luka against the world. But in the wins, I feel like people really forget how great Tim was.
Yeah, he was like 25 on like
60% from deep, like crazy numbers
on like 10 attempts. Like he was insane. He was really insane.
Yeah.
So he would help, but we just don't have him, so we can't harp on that. And we just don't have any more places to pull from. Like we tried Frank, and Frank has been a sun killer this season for some weird reason. But like, are you really gonna rest your playoff hopes on Frank Ntilikina? Like
that was probably just because Brunson foul trouble, if I had to guess.
Exactly, and you were not. I'm not putting my trust in Trey Burke. Like we just don't have any. And I saw people saying, "Oh, don't play Powell, play Marquise Chris." Are you kidding me?
Boban,
yeah,
always Boban. I've had to mute Boban on my channel. It was just, why is Boban out of the game? Come on, dude. I saw Boban and Marquise Chris. That was one I saw both at the same time.
Yeah, no.
The Twin Towers.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just think we just don't have enough. And that's okay. That's okay. Like if you like I said, you can, think the Mavs are gonna win from a fan standpoint, but just objectively, you can be okay with us not winning because you know that this team is not like we're not like contenders. Like yet. I don't think we are. We're dark horses. I think we're dark like horses, that dark horse kind of team. But in terms of like true contender, where you're saying, yeah, I could see the Mavs like definitely winning a championship. I don't think we're there yet. Could be this series. We got to see how it plays out pretty much to see how we really measure up.
Yeah, I think everyone will just say if 77's on your team, anything's possible, which is true for sure. And that's sort of the thing. Offensively, I was honestly okay with what we saw last night offensively. Truthfully, I know that there were some questionable moments, but the reality is if you give up 70 points in the first half against this Suns team, you're going to lose a game.
Yeah, I can agree. Defense was our bigger problem. I wouldn't say I liked what I saw offensively because from the first, I'll say first 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, the start was a disaster. I agree.
Yeah, but you kind of knew but I felt like they were kind of doing a feel out kind of thing. It happens almost every game to this point, especially since Porzingis has left. Usually first game it was like Porzingis' first basket was automatic.
Every time.
Porzingis, usually we're trying to feed Porzingis the first couple minutes. Since he's left, I feel like first quarters especially have been kind of like feel out quarters for Luka, not even for the team, but for Luka. He's going to run a high pick and roll, see how they're defending it, see how they're defending some of the sets. He's kind of doing that before. The Suns, you saw the defense was kind of like, we're going to, kind of pack the paint, show Luka a lot of bodies, but we're so long. Like, they have wingspans for days. Everyone on the Suns has a plus wingspan. That's
that
like,
Mikal Bridges block.
Oh my God, it was crazy.
That's one of the craziest plays of the playoffs.
Yeah, I thought I was an open three. I was ready to be like, okay, open three for Reggie, and he like blocked that. But that's the thing. They have such insane length and defenders that they're not like doubling Luka. It's not a hard double, so they're showing and recovering. So showing bodies, recovering to the shooter. So the other guys, they're I don't trust them making plays. Outside of the ball handlers, and not talking Spencer or Brunson, but these other guys, I'm sorry, I do not want this. Not the Jazz. I don't want them making any sort of plays on the ball.
Agreed.
Making any didn't know. We saw it early. I think Finney-Smith, the ball got swung to him on the perimeter. He tried to drive it, and he's gotten better at that. He tried to.
Yeah, he has.
They closed out. He attacked the closeout. He tried to drive it. And he tried to kick it back out. They picked that up clean. Like that, that turnover. He tried it again later on. I think he tried to attack Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, he got blocked.
Like, I'm not mad at him for trying it. You have to try it, but you can see early that's just not gonna fly. And I'm not mad at Dorian Finney-Smith for not being able to break down Mikal Bridges. Like, I'm gonna be mad at him for that. I don't want offense running through Reggie Bullock. He can't dribble. Maxi Powell, their centers. So it's like it's Luka or Brunson who struggled, and Brunson looked shook, plain and simple, from the opening tip to foul trouble. And then the problem is, this is why narratives are so funny, because, and I don't mean to come off as condescending, but last night it was just so funny because there were so many opinions, and not that there's always like right and wrong, but no one got to the point. I felt like in my opinion, I don't think anyone was hitting the point, because it was either, and that's because I don't think most people look at middle ground. It's either, Luka has no help. No one helped him. No one did this. Or Luka's a ball hog. He's not helping his teammates get better, blah, blah. There's middle ground here. Like, it's not like, I don't think side's right. And the other side, like that wasn't the point of last night. I think I wouldn't say he didn't have help. Like I was just saying, the Suns had a game plan. Like, to me, you can't say the Suns have a game plan and they worked their game plan well. Luka can cook. We're gonna shut down the rest. You can't say the Suns did that well, but also say Luka can't win playing the way he's playing. He played a terrible game.
Yeah,
that's counterintuitive. Like, so did you like the way the Suns played to their game plan, or did you think it was Luka's fault? Like, it can't be the same thing. Like, it can't exist at the same time. So it's just I just think the narratives, there's somewhere to meet in the middle. Yeah. I think there's some shots that were terrible on Luka's end. Those step back threes where he's not swinging the ball, he's just coming down and taking a bad shot. Or he's not, like, if he's trying to break down someone, he doesn't have anything. Instead of giving it up, he's trying to take a bad shot. Those are like bad shots. But in this grand scheme of the game, he's not doing that all game. He's not doing that all game.
Luka's going to take bad shots from time to time. Like, it's just going to happen.
He's going to turn the ball over. Like, it's going to happen from time to time, but are you going to limit that? And what else are you doing to kind of, counterbalance that? So he wasn't doing that all game. So that's why when people are trying, it's kind of like confirmation bias. People are trying to, confirm what they think. So whichever side you fall on, that game last night, you had a lot of evidence for whichever.
Oh, yeah. People just go in with their own narratives already, and no matter what happens, they're getting pushed. Which, I can respect in a way. Like, I can respect that shameless agenda pushing. But
it's just so annoying, because it's like, to me,
it annoys me when it comes from Mavs fans. You understand everyone else is going to do it.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like the heavy pushback with the no help, because they're trying to counter the Luka's a ball hog narratives, and they're trying to say, well, his teammates are bricks. No, that's not the point either. Like, that wasn't what happened either, because you have to just analyze within the context of games. Like, Brunson was in foul trouble at the second quarter. That's usually when Brunson has his time with Dinwiddie to get loose, get in his rhythm, and play his game. Basically, he gets in foul trouble, so now Luka has to come back in. Spencer was already not giving us anything. So it's basically like a one ball handler lineup with Luka. And that happened a lot in the second quarter, especially. It was Luka, Reggie Bullock, Dorian, Maxey, and like Powell.
When was the last time we've seen that? I was thinking about that last night too. I was like,
yeah,
when was the last time we saw
it a lot.
one?
I was like, the one ball handler lineups, it does not work anymore. The way with teams, how they defend Luka.
It will not work against the Suns either.
Exactly. That just can't work. And that lineup was used. Those lineups were used a lot in the second quarter. That's why I'm like, and in those lineups, Luka, please do everything. I don't want to see anyone else do anything with the ball. So it's like, you see that happening, and instead of acknowledging that, it's just narratives and agendas. Like, please, it just gets on my nerves. Please watch the game for what it is. I just think everyone's just so caught up in agendas and defending and just Twitter and NBA Twitter. They're getting away from actually, drawing accurate conclusions of what we just watched. Like, that's, what you guys are saying, that's not what we watched.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. Everyone has their own opinion, so it is what it is. But I just implore people just to please use a bit of nuance when you talk about these things.
Yeah. And especially like going back the way the Suns defended, you could tell, especially because like Mikal was guarding Luka at first, but they switched. I mean, they did not pose any resistance to switches. Like they let Mikal switch off, and you could tell because Mikal would kind of just rove around because he could pick off, like he could basically guard two players off ball at one singular time.
Because of his wingspan. That's why I'm saying, like, we don't have much, and that's what Brunson is good at too, especially in the Luka lineups. Brunson attacks the gaps.
Yeah.
Suns leave no gaps. Like the Suns, there's no gaps that you can really attack with the Suns. That's why it's kind of tough on Brunson with Luka out there. People are thinking, oh, it's the way Luka plays. Not necessarily. Like, not really.
Yeah, it's also the way Brunson plays. Brunson needs to shoot some more. Like he needs to shoot, catch and shoot outside shots.
Yeah, Brunson, just getting in the paint, trying to pull up from the paint. Like, you have to adjust your game, and that's why Spencer's useless, because his game, like Brunson's game, is at least scalable. Like Brunson at least could shoot the pull-ups and shoot. He can at least do it. He doesn't do it on high volume, but he can do it. Spencer's game is less scalable than that because his jumper is just so streaky. If he's not on, it's either you're going to foul bait and try to get a foul, or
has he even gotten? I swear to God, I haven't seen him get one of those calls all postseason.
He hasn't gotten it because they're BS. Like, even during the regular season, when I see him get those calls, like in my head, like I'm loving it as a Mavs fan because we're getting calls, but I'm like, this is such bullshit.
If you look at like the foul rates of like drives, it'll be like star, Spencer Dinwiddie, star. It like makes no sense.
Yeah, but you don't get those in the playoffs, especially against a disciplined team like Phoenix. Like,
especially Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah, you're Spencer Dinwiddie. You're not getting those like in the
playoffs.
Not getting that call. Sorry, you're not getting that. So if he's not getting that, and he has bad touch, he can't shoot floaters, midi is bad, and unless you're shooting step back threes, I mean his catch and shoot rates are great, but like I said, Suns aren't just leaving shooters like willy-nilly. So it's like there's not many opportunities for him to get. And if you're telling me the way for him to be super productive is to just give him the ball for half the game, absolutely not.
Oh, anyone saying that does not watch. Anyone saying that is just not watching the games.
We're not a lottery team. Like that was my worry with Spencer. And I mean, it was great when it didn't show up, at post trade deadline, but now it's coming up. The fact that I worried because he was a high volume guy. He's a high volume guy. Like in terms of being productive, he's like to really score. He needs to take the shots, like take a decent amount of shots. He has to have the ball. He has to, dribble, all that. Like against the Suns and just for your offense in general, it's not good offense to just have Spencer Dinwiddie be dribbling there at the ball, So I worried that it might be a little tough on him, especially if he's playing with the other ball handlers. So I don't know. He has to figure it out because if we need a chance, he just has to I don't know what he has to do, but he has to perform some miracle.
Is it true he's on an all smoothie diet?
Like I saw that, and here's the thing: I did not confirm, so that was probably bad on me. I saw it. I just kind of ran with it that he was on a smoothie, like a juice diet. Apparently, he's been going on for a while, and fans have been saying it for a while. So that's why I kind of trusted it. But are you kidding me?
Is he vegan or something?
I don't know. So I don't want to judge too hard because I don't know his situation, but like, are you like, we're in the playoffs. Like, I don't know if it's religious. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to judge too hard.
Yeah.
I really know the situation, but like, are you kidding me? We're in the playoffs and you just decided to just go on a juice diet. Like he's a weird guy. Like I don't even mean that like in a mean way. Like he's just objectively kind of a weird guy just in general. So I wasn't too surprised, but it was kind of like dude, like
Yeah,
what are you doing? Like
that's
we're in the
definitely kind of wild in the postseason to just switch to a juice diet.
yeah, that's very weird. So, but it is what it. I mean, if and the funny thing is if he was really going off we would have been on Twitter like it's like juice Dinwiddie smoothie Dinwiddie
Oh yeah.
smoothie Spencer is the best
We'd
player
have
in the world.
Cuban would be on the phone with the Smoothie King or whatever. There'd be ads everywhere.
Yeah, but nah, he's playing bad. It's like, bro, eat some steak.
Well, that's just the NBA playoffs in a nutshell. Like just 2 days ago, you couldn't tell Mavs fans shit. Like we were on top of the world, and after one, not even a terrible game. I mean, we lost. We definitely lost by more than the score would probably indicate. But now it's just, oh God,
that's the
Brunson
thing.
doesn't deserve any money.
Yeah,
everyone's terrible.
Is crazy.
Luka's a ball hog. You can't. I do partially agree. You probably can't win much with the Luka ball the way that it is currently, but that's just the way that it is, though.
Yes, that's what people can't. That's where the disconnect is. Like you can acknowledge that yes, you're probably not gonna win it all playing like that, but you have to play like that right now. Like there's not much, like the way you're suggesting will not win anything either. I promise you. Like you can bring it up against the Utah Jazz. This is where, and it's funny because you don't hear these complaints against like if we play against like Portland. On a random Tuesday afternoon because everybody's eating. Portland's terrible. They're terrible defensively. Right. But when we play a Clippers on a Friday and it's Luka scoring 49 and everyone else has like no more than 10, then it's he's a ball hog. He needs to get others involved or he has no help. No, it's just that a good defensive team with the personnel. So like a Clippers and a Suns, they're similar in that the personnel that they have makes it easier for them to stop others and not neutralize Luka, but at least keep Luka to a point where he actually cannot beat them himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly what happened last night, too.
Yeah. I've seen Luka beat teams by himself. Like games 5 against the Clippers last year, that was Luka beating them by himself. I don't care what anyone says. Like, Luka beat.
That was the game where he scored or assisted on like, what was it, 80% or something?
I think it was like 80%, all but like 30 points. I think it was like something crazy like that. Yeah, that was him beating them by himself for that game. Yeah. He beat them by himself. So he can do it for a game. But like, if they have the personnel to kind of, not slow him, but like kind of keep him at bay, for the series and just shut down the others, like you're going to see performances like that. And that's just how we have to pivot in those games because no points are going to be scored. I don't care what anyone says. Like, and people, it's funny because was it the Denver game that Golden State lost? And the final play, Steve Kerr drawed up for a lob for Wiggins. Twitter killed him. You're drawing up a lob for Wiggins, not just a lob play. A lob on the final play is kind of weird, like especially from that angle. It's just weird in general, but it was for Wiggins. People had issue that it was for Wiggins, and throughout the season, people kind of complained at Kerr's coaching because everyone's touching, like, why hasn't Steph gotten a touch or why hasn't this person gotten a touch? So there's criticism of the way you're suggesting too. And not everyone could just play Warriors ball. Like it just does not work like that.
Yeah.
So,
can you imagine like if Kidd did that and Brunson like ran the offense for a game and we lost?
It'd be crazy. It'd be just so crazy. And that's not even to say Brunson can't run it off, but Brunson can't run it the way this team needs it run, especially against this great of a defense. Like you could do it against the Jazz because you're getting past the Jazz. Like you're getting your first action against the Jazz. Like whatever you're running, like your first action out of it, you're getting it.
Like, Donovan, the Suns, there's no Donovan Mitchell on the Suns.
Yeah,
or Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, the Suns, you're in your third action before you can even get a clean shot. Like I don't trust like Brunson to be like the sole offensive hub of situations like that where you know what I mean, especially against this fully healthy like Suns defense. I just don't like, he's not that caliber of a player, and I don't expect him to be, especially with this roster. He would be like, this is us taking off Luka out the equation, but that's like that's just like, I don't expect Munson to do much as the kind of sole ball handler on this roster. And even with Luka, like playing off ball. Does Luka really have, like, if you think about it, does Luka have Steph Curry off ball gravity? Because that's what it's always compared to. People talk about off ball and it's always Steph. He's getting compared to.
No.
So if we're talking about Steph, does Luka have Steph's off ball gravity?
Definitely not.
So is it gonna work the same way?
It's not.
Exactly.
They could be a little bit more creative. I've seen people talking about it.
Creative, 100%.
That's coaching, though. That's like, and it's also, this is just what they wanted to do. Even when Rick was here, it's just what they want from an organizational perspective. And unless you get some other personnel in here, like a Jaylen Brown type player who you could just give him the ball and he's skilled and talented enough against pretty much whoever to do whatever, which Brunson, because I was talking about this yesterday, and I do believe Brunson, if you just build your roster perfectly, could maybe be the second best player on your team. But he will never be a second star, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can agree, especially for a player like Luka, who's going to be, handling
the megastar. Yeah.
I agree, but that's the thing. You're gonna have to get like real high end role players like behind Brunson to give that support if he can't because yes, he can be the second best player, like you're saying, especially the second best ball handler.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can expect that kind of, or put that kind of pressure for an entire like playoff run, which is why you'd probably need good strong role players behind him. So if he has his couple off games, struggling a bit with a matchup, maybe you have other guys that can step up, because that's the thing with Brunson, it's about matchups for him. Like if he gets a bad matchup, he gets a bad matchup. Like people are making it like an indictment on him.
Yeah.
As a player, like I'm like, you could have bad matchups. Like if we played actually, let me not say that. I was about to really say something controversial. Never mind.
No, do it.
I was going to say, if we played the Timberwolves for, say, in the first round, things would have gotten spooky, because that's a bad Luka matchup in terms of his numbers.
Yeah, the Timberwolves always play us weird.
Yeah, I think we would have beaten them just because they're, Wolves play CTE ball, no offense. But so we would have beaten them just off that. But Luka's numbers would have suffered just because of the matchup. That's not indictment on Luka. It's just the matchup. So it's kind of like Brunson, Clippers, he got the worst matchup possible for his first, playoff series.
Mm-hmm.
Utah, he got the best possible matchup for his first, playoff series going into a contract year. And now I won't say the Suns are like this terrible matchup, but it's not looking like great. It's not looking great so far. So it's just a bad matchup. Like I just, not every team is the Suns or the Clippers. You know what I mean? So it's just, I just don't think you can use that to judge him so harshly. Does he, warrant criticism? Of course, but to judge him so harshly and be talking about, what he's worth on a game to game basis, that's just too much.
Yeah. And always remember this, guys. Brunson, what people are willing to pay Brunson is what he's worth. It doesn't matter what the Mavs think he might be worth or what you might think he might be worth numbers wise. If some teams want to give him $26 million, which I don't think is possible or anything, but if just say the Pistons are like, you know what, we'll throw you $25 million right now. That's what he's worth.
And that's what the Mavericks have to pay.
Yes.
At the end of the day, they're just going to have to pay that, because we just have to match whatever anyone else is matching. And I don't care what anyone says. We've seen contracts move. Brunson on like a $25 million contract. Would it be a lot? Of course, but it's movable. It is movable. Like,
oh yeah. There's no unmovable contracts anymore. We've seen Russell Westbrook get traded 6 times. Like
6 times. Brunson would be productive. I don't know why people think he's going to sign the contract and fall off a cliff.
Yeah, he's not like the streaky shooter or something. Like,
yeah,
no offense, like Tim Hardaway can be sometimes.
Yeah, he's 50% for his career. Like, even if he's not hitting 25 every game, he's giving you like steady production. Like,
yeah, and he's just his game. Hard. It's smooth. It's methodical. Like, it's not a streaky. Like, I need to have high shooting numbers.
Yeah,
it's like I'll get to my spots.
He knows his game. So, I mean, we'll see.
Mavs fans, man, come on. I know, I was 16 when 2011 happened, so that was a long time ago, and I was young, and I have good, vivid memories of it. But this is what the playoffs are. You can't get too high, too low. You can get too high, actually. You celebrate wins, but you can't get too low after a game 1, especially on the road against a better team. Yes. You just can't. You got to be ready to go for game 2. They know they have to play perfect. Like, they're aware of that.
Yeah, they know what they have to do. I just think the coaching staff has to really buckle down and get like you were saying, creative, with their sets. They have to really get honing on that creativity because the Suns know what we want to do and they can guard it. Like
Yeah.
first play, you saw that Spain pick and roll. Both teams know how to do it. The Suns just knew what to do because they've been the best team the entire season at defending, the Spain pick and roll. So we have to throw them off. We just have to find a way to throw them off.
Yeah, the Spain pick and rolls, the high screens, they're just not going to be your friend this series.
They're not.
And, one thing I would say, Luka, if I had to say Luka should really improve on, Luka's always going to play at his tempo no matter what. He needs to get to a point where he could push the tempo if he has to, like get up quickly, go quickly. He just never does that. I don't know if it's like it's not because he can't. He's just way too good of a player, but it's just he doesn't want to. He likes the slow pace.
Yeah, he likes, because that's the thing I noticed with Luka. He doesn't like chaotic basketball. That's why when I watch teams, like when I was watching that Memphis Wolves series, it was such a culture shock to me because I was like, turning the ball over up and down. Teams are running like we don't do that. So it's like, wow, like other teams really play like this.
Yeah.
But with him, I don't think he likes that kind of ball. He wants to make the decisions or like see the court. And frankly, he's a little, tubby, so he's not trying to run up the court all day, and I get that, but like you said, he has to push at times because if you're like the Suns, you're allowing them to set their defense every single possession, and you're playing against a set defense every single possession.
That is crazy that the Mavs offense is as good as it is considering.
Yeah, which is why I like them in a playoff like kind of setting, but it's just that they don't have enough yet to kind of get them over that edge. But when they do get it, it's going to be so dangerous because we're so good in the half court. But like you have to mix it up. You have to be able to get it in transition and in the half court. So that's something he has to work on. And I think Dorian said a post game that they need to play a little faster. Because I think you can get opportunities that way. So he just has to figure that out too. But that's the problem with us not being so athletic too.
Yeah.
We don't really have those guys where you can just throw the ball and someone will get it and do something with it.
I think that's the Josh Green dream right there.
Yeah, but he's rough. But to me, he needs to take these hits, especially last series. He played and it was rough, but thankfully he kind of like made it out. But yeah, sorry, I'm in New York, so
no, it's good.
But yeah, so it's just I just hope he's able to take these lumps into the offseason and see what he can work on and how teams are, kind of going to guard him because he's not really getting guarded, at least in the, Jazz series and in the Suns. He can't break down. He's not really useful at all.
It's just, it's just not time. Like, that's just really what it is. He had the wide open three and then just pretty much had pitch running down his legs and then shot clock violation and Luka was pissed.
Yeah.
And it sucks because you watch him play. I mean, defensively, he's there.
Yeah, he's like almost there defensively, like to being like a real guy. Like I think he needs to work on some stuff, but defensively, he's like, yeah.
Like he played some of the best defense we saw against Devin Booker last night, which, the best you could do is just force as tough of a shot as possible on D-Book, or at least prevent him from getting to where he wants to go. But it's just not time for Josh Green. That's okay. We knew that going in that he was going to be a raw prospect.
Exactly. That's why when people are like trying to dump on him, I was like, don't dump on him. Like, I know people are hyping him up, this season because he was showing flashes and you thought like, oh, maybe he could have, contributed, in the playoffs,
Well, Mavs fans do that to every young player who's ever come to the organization.
Yeah, but it's like, give the guy a break. Like he'll take these lumps. He's like, what? He's 20. Like, is he 21 yet?
Oh, 20. I think I would have to say 21 probably.
Yeah, he's probably 21. So that's a pretty young guy. He's not ready yet. Like you said, he's not ready yet, but I don't think fans should get too like low on him, especially after the Jazz series.
He had some big moments in that series though.
Yeah, he was horrible in that the first two games. It was just like pain. Was it the first? Yeah, pain. And then game 3 was terrible. That game. He turned it around and was more useful, and I felt like Kid put him in better spots there, and that was different because you needed him to play. Like regardless, even if he was terrible, he had to play because Lucas wasn't playing, so someone had to eat those minutes, so he had to play anyway. But now, Now his leash is a bit shorter. Like if he's gonna
Yeah.
if he makes mistakes, you're gonna pull him and probably not put him back in. But he's gonna get the shot. I don't think we'll see unless it's like pretty bad and we're in an emergency situation where we're like down 0-3 or something. I don't think we'll see him like completely cut from the rotation.
Yeah.
So with that,
he's
gonna get minutes. So I would hope that he kind of, does something in those minutes to kind of be useful.
And he was an 18th over. I need people to understand 18th overall picks. If you get a solid role player, I know in the context, everyone drafted after him and stuff. Yeah, not great. But if your 18th overall pick is just like a solid guy, that's good. You live with that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So take it easy on Josh Green and Brunson. It's game 1. God.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Mavs fans could just be a little too much sometimes. It's one thing from other NBA fans because that is what it is. You know what you're going to get out of them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just passion, I think, at the end of the day. But that's the thing. People should just look at patterns. I think everything would just be easier if we identified patterns and we could see, okay, this falls into a pattern or something. I don't think anything about this game was super outlier-y. No. I don't think, nothing was too much of an anomaly. So it's just, you just kind of have to tweak things and go from there. But no one should be doomsday anything because we're okay. We're okay.
Yeah, if we win tonight, the time you guys are watching this, we are celebrating on Twitter. It's literally we're in the streets partying. Like this is how playoff basketball can be. So
we're winning the championship.
Yeah, seriously. We're going back to Dallas, tied 1-1. We just won the series.
Yeah.
That's how everyone's gonna react. I'm actually feeling confident you just can't. I think all things considered, game 1, that was as bad of a start as you could have possibly drawn up, I think. Turning the ball over, they're throwing lobs. Devin Booker's talking shit to everyone.
On their first position against the Suns every game. Like, I don't know why, especially when Luka plays, the first position against the Suns, we always turn it over.
Well, they got to stop doing I can't believe they do that dribble handoff with Dwight Powell and Luka the first possession of every single game and every single half, every single time. And it works more often than not. And I'm always just like, if you just know they're running that play every time.
Yeah.
But you probably won't see that play any longer, depending on what's going on with Dwight Powell. Well, all right. I still feel good about this series. SJ didn't pick them to win going into it, but that's all right. She picked with her brain, not her heart. We can respect that.
That's why I didn't put it on the timeline. I don't know if you noticed. I did not put that. I put every other picks except for that one. I don't want people to kill me, and I didn't want to put it out in the universe. So
right.
Try not to say too much. That's why I just say I hope the Mavs win. That's my go-to line. I hope the Mavs win.
Yeah, there you go. I put Suns and our Mavs and 5 on the timeline, and Suns fans are already swarming me.
Yeah, they were so annoying. I'm so sorry. Like I have a lot, and a lot more has followed me since the series started, and I don't get it.
Same.
I have a lot of Suns like mutuals and like followers, so it's not like hate. I don't hate the Suns at all, like just as a team. But my goodness, are some of the fans just so annoying? Like some people have alluded to the fact that they haven't seen success, so they don't know what to do with it now that they have it. And
I think another thing too is they had that Cinderella run last year, and everyone discredited it.
Yeah.
So they had to counteract that with extra toxicity.
Yeah, so it's just it's like, I mean, Jazz fans were funny because they were kind of lame and it was easy to kind of rag on them because we had the number. Yeah, no offense, but like with the Suns fans, they're just like, I just can't wait to be not dealing with them anymore. They're just so, you tweet something about like, hey, I hope the Mavs win, and there's like 20 of them like,
and they're mad
marked. I like, are you kidding me?
Like, yeah. I literally said in my prediction I would just pick the Mavs in 5 out of delusion. There was no real reason. And Suns fans were shaming. I'm like, dude, what do you want me to say? It's my favorite team. You want me to sit here and be like, yeah, the Suns are just Suns in 4, man. They're just way better. No. Yeah. And I don't feel that way. I'll give them their flowers at the end of the series if it goes a certain direction. But until then, nothing out of me.
And that's completely fair.
Yep. That's how I want it to be in the playoffs. The Dallas sports fans, we don't get this chance much often. All right, guys? We just don't. I saw a stat today that the Cowboys have the worst winning percentage in the NFL in the playoffs. So let us enjoy some success. All right. SJ at SJBasketball8 on Twitter. Correct? Yes, sir. That's right. Make sure you guys follow it. One of the best follows on Twitter. Thank you for coming on. We'll see if our run here of willing Mavs wins into existence continues.
Oh my goodness, I hope so. We have to start charging.
Yeah, we do. We'll have to get Cuban
We
on the
have to
phone.
contact Cuban, yeah.
We have to get Cuban on the phone. All right. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you guys later.